Even if you don't know what you're doing, whatever platform you want to use, Zoom, make sure you record everything that you're doing. Because if you record it, then you give the training data for the AI to do whatever you need to do later on when you figure it out, or when you have a business partner or just a product that you can use. Like right now, like Kendo, I didn't know this really existed, but I have all the infrastructure. So if I just plug it in and I can just do all that stuff or something, I can recreate the wheel. So folks, if you're out there listening, if you want to like get into AI, this is a really easy first step. Just record everything you're doing and it will help you accelerate. Welcome back to STR Like the Best. I'm Michael Chang. I'm your host. Really excited to welcome Hailie Marie to the show today. For folks that are listening for the first time, the STR Like the Best podcast will help you better invest your time and money in short-term rentals. So if you're interested in real estate, saving taxes, and trying to figure out if Airbnb investing is the right strategy for you, then this is the perfect show to where we bring on experts that talks about their stories, about how they've been able to grow their business. And I think you'd really benefit from that. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and be great if you could share with a friend that you think would be interested in this content. Thank you very much. Hailie, welcome to the show.
Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for having me. Super
Yeah,
excited.
no, it's great seeing you. Like last time I saw you was in Austin. We both had keynotes at the HostAway conference, so that was cool to reconnect. If you want to introduce yourself to the listeners, that'd be great.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thanks for listening in. My name is Hailie. I am 22 years old, and I've been doing short-term rentals for about 3 years now. I started when I was 19, 22 now, and it is basically my own little empire. I have 70 units currently and looking to scale within a bunch of different types of business models. My current model is arbitrage, but I've used it as a tool, which we'll touch on in a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, not so little. I don't know if you remember this, but you and I met way back through our mutual friend Chewy, who has been on the podcast. I think it's episode like 12 or something. So if you guys are interested, go back and take a look. You guys were setting up a unit, I think, in Salt Lake City. This is maybe like 2 years ago.
We
Two?
were, it was
And you were
actually
sick.
Austin. Yeah.
Austin. Okay.
It was in Austin, and this was my first ever deal, 3 units. And he was staging units in the same complex at the exact same time as I was. And remember I was carrying a bunch of boxes, and he was like on a balcony, and he was like, "Hey, are you staging an Airbnb?" And I was like, I don't know the right answer,
Yeah.
but
Are
yes.
you the management company?
Yeah, it's like I don't know what to say. And then we've literally been friends ever since. So it's been cool to grow alongside of him as well. He's super smart, and it's good to have good friends in the industry. So it's been cool to do our journey together.
I think that's something that people don't talk about enough. It's the people along the way. The industries are pretty special in that way where, he could have viewed you as a competitor, be like, oh, you're in the same building as me, blah, blah. But most people really in this industry are very constructive. Like, hey, let me help you and let's like find stuff that we can do together.
Yeah, it's been cool too because we've been able to like help each other out along the journey. Like, hey, I've got this deal. Maybe I can't take all of them. Like, I'd rather help a friend out who's also doing the same thing than, not. So it's been really, really, really cool. And he's the best.
He's I don't know, Chewy's great, and it just speaks to community, right? Like having like-minded folks around you along this journey. We have a mentorship program that helps first-time investors buy short-term rentals, and that's was a big part of the value proposition that we were thinking about. Like, well, when we first started, we had no one to ask, and we want folks out there that are interested in doing this, like actually have people around you that are like going through the same process, or like maybe just a few months ahead of you so you can, one, I think, if you see someone that's like looks and feels and has the same kind of background as you, you're like, oh, I can do it too. Gives you confidence. And two, building your own network so that you have other people that you can lean into and do deals together, just like how
Yeah.
you and Chewy done.
I think entrepreneurship is it can be very, very lonely. So I think the most important thing to build is a community, and you have people who are equally as I say crazy because you got to be a little crazy to do entrepreneurship. So it is definitely reassuring and motivating, and it gives you that extra boost when you're like alone working, like what am I doing, contemplating your life. You're like, hold on, I've got people.
Yeah, and so people you can talk to, and yeah, like, no, people they don't really understand what you're going through. People can be sympathetic because they're like, oh, you seem like you're going through something, and give you a hug, pat you on the back. But like, true empathy, I think you have to kind of understand what the person's going through, and then someone that can actually, oh yeah, like I get it. Like, yeah,
I
well,
feel your pain.
I feel your pain. Yeah, like I've been there. Like it'll pass. Like I guess like messed up your plate. It's okay. Like cleaners take care of it. It's like not no big deal. And then or you get a bad review, and it's like oh, you move on. Like, it's something in
Yeah.
the world. But actually, along that along that vein, right? Like let's talk about that. You gotta be crazy to do this, and crazy at 19. Kind of walk us the last 3 years.
Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. I've always kind of had an entrepreneur spirit, I would say. Like in elementary school, I had a YouTube channel and I was selling like homemade charms that I would make out of like clay.
Amazing.
And I would sell them from my videos and people would comment, and then that's when PMs on YouTube were a thing. I don't know if it's a thing anymore, but you could message people directly in YouTube.
Oh really? Oh, I
And
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, and I used to sell my stuff on YouTube from my videos. So I've always known I could make money untraditionally, and obviously that wasn't sustainable. But as I grew up, I kind of took that and carried it into different phases of my life. And I was in high school when COVID hit, and I was stuck at home. I graduated a year and a half early because I was like, I have access to all my school. Why not just do it? Like, I
Yeah.
was
That's
anxious
so
to get it
cool.
over with. Yeah, so I finished school early. I saw TikToks on Arbitrage, and I was like, I have some money saved. Let's see what
For the
happens.
charms, yeah.
So, in the time when everyone was fleeing from real estate, I was like, this is my end.
Oh, that's amazing. No, it's so smart. And I didn't know that actually. That's really cool. I have two young kids, and Liz and I, my wife and I, we talk all the time about like how we going. I mean, obviously, like we're trying to build family wealth and
Yeah,
want to be able to provide for our kids, but neither one of us grew up in wealth,
yeah,
or and then there was a lot of struggle, and I think that actually helped me a lot. Like when we were really poor, like poor growing up, and then just like, all right, like you really learn the value of money, and then you really learn that like if I want to do it, yeah, I got to hustle. So like, maybe just like was it your parents or because I think you do need something to push you into, hey, I'm gonna go, make charms and sell them on YouTube and then also market against that. Like that's really cool. Like congrats, it's
yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. I mean, I don't really know what it was because my dad was in the military, so he was very your typical military man, very strict, very by the books, go to college, you get free college. Literally,
Oh yeah,
I would have gotten paid to go to college. My dad was like, "What are you doing?" And my mom was a stay-at-home mom, so I don't know. It's just I think I looked at it more as like a passion. Like I loved creating the charms, and then I wanted to show people the charms that I was making because I was watching people's charm videos. So I
okay,
was like, why not? I make my own, and then it kind of just was like a trickle effect. So I don't know where it came from. I do have a really good like support system, so I think they kind of gave me that motivation that it was okay to do something untraditional.
that's cool.
But I don't know, whatever it is, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, no, I love that. I want to teach my daughter that our plan, right, is like Liz and I kind of grow our Airbnb business, like this business, like all the businesses that we're like we want to bring the kids in
Yep.
as early as possible. We always joke like, when she's starting to count, so we're gonna figure out how to get her to do the invoicing.
Yeah.
The first one already figured out. She's gonna reconcile the cleaning invoices that we get every 2 weeks. So
I
it's
love
like yeah, here's
it.
here's like the calendar, right? So it's
Oh,
visual. Like here's the HostAway calendar, and this is like the checkout, and then so you match it. Okay, this is the date, like February 2nd. All right, checkout February. Okay, and then you mark it off with your crayon, and
the
like
next generation.
we're
I
gonna do
love
that. We're gonna do that. Like she's
awesome.
maybe like a few more months. She's starting to get her numbers down, but like I think it'll be a really good way, and then she'll be happy, and then like we'll watch Peppa Pig, and then she'll be
Participating, she's learning.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, and then she got a reward. Yeah, so no. Anyway. As you've grown to 70 units now, maybe just talk a little bit about the portfolio. So arbitrage for folks, arbitrage, similar to how Liz and I started in 2016. You rent apartments, and then with the landlord's permission, you re-rent it on Airbnb, right? So you make X dollars, right, from your short-term rentals. You pay your rent, you pay your expenses, and then the net is your profit.
yeah, so I do arbitrage. All 70 are arbitrage. I do want to emphasize that I think arbitrage is a tool. It has never been the end all be all for me, and I don't think very many people who
You'd be
actually.
surprised. You'd
Yeah,
be
well,
surprised.
yeah, I mean, I have talked to a few, but I've used it as a tool to invest into these bigger things to build long-term wealth for me and my family or generations to come. So when I started, I had 3 units, obviously scaled to 70, but the cash flow is just incredible. It feels like a glitch in the system, I always say. Like, it doesn't feel like it's real sometimes. It's like, how am I making this much money when it's really the barrier to entry is pretty low. I've scaled it up to 70. Obviously, we'll keep taking deals if they come and it's good, but I definitely am pivoting towards, buying and owning. And also, my taxes this year definitely gave me a wake up call. So, it needs to happen.
It is that's and I'll tell you the first time you buy it and then you do the bonus depreciation and then you see you're like, oh my god, like why didn't I do this earlier? So no, we'll get to that. No, I definitely we had that realization in 2020 when we bought our first one. We were like, oh my god, like, and then
What were we doing?
yeah, well yeah, it was just like. Well, we kind of ran towards real estate just similar to you because everyone's running away from it. We're like, well, we didn't own anything in Tennessee at the time, but then we saw what was happening in our Philadelphia portfolio. And then by May, it was like, obviously it was like mid March 2020, COVID came, everything shut down, or at least in the Northeast. You guys were different in Florida, but
Yeah.
it all shut down. And then we're like, oh, crap, we're in trouble. And they were like, all right, well, let's just figure it out. Like eventually people have been trying for thousands of years. They've had pandemics before, like they'll figure it out. And then by mid May, it really started picking back up. We're like, dude, if it's picking back up in Philadelphia with all these restrictions, like
That's
imagine what's
wild.
happening in all these other states, right?
Mhm.
And then look, oh my God, interest rates are 2.5%. All right, like let's go and buy something. And
I
then
always joke, I'm like, when I was like 5 years old, why wasn't I buying houses? Like, what was going on?
I know, exactly. You should, yeah, exactly. You should be when you're, if you ever get to there and you have a 5-year-old, then
Yeah. Like,
time
all
to buy.
right, we're getting you a head start, okay?
Well, maybe let's talk about like so I want to talk 2 points. Right? I want to talk about how we live in Florida. Your units, I'm guessing, aren't all in Florida. They're away. You started in Austin. We talked about Salt Lake City a little bit, so you're geographically distributed. But maybe just talk about like how you're operating it, so that I think folks that are interested in growing their portfolio from like 1 to 2 to 3, whatever it is, that would be great. And then two is like the money glitch, right? Let's talk about like the arbitrage money glitch. But let's focus first on the scaling part. Besides HostAway, what else do you use?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people and anyone listening, I know a lot of you own whatever. I think that's the only difference, the acquisition method, but how you run it is relatively the same. So these processes can be implemented no matter how you have the property. I'm very, very big on tech, very big on teams. And yes, all of my properties are actually remote. I own or I operate none in manifesting the owning. I operate none in Florida, actually. I am based in Florida, but I am all over the place. I love traveling. I'm always not home. They're all remote with tech and teams. So I have a pretty decent tech stack, which I know can be intimidating or sound expensive, but whenever I started, I wanted to build myself a business, not create myself another job. And the only way to do that is to automate and delegate. So tech or teams. And that's kind of how I've built it out. So every single property, no matter where it is, goes into the same systems to where it basically just runs on autopilot. And my focus is, scaling, systemization, bottlenecks, things like that. So
Let's quiz each other on our tech platforms.
okay,
Okay. PMS.
HostAway.
HostAway. Okay, me too. Okay. Access management.
I use HostAway for that.
Okay. I use remote lock for that.
Okay.
Cheaper.
Okay.
$2 per month cheaper.
Insider.
Well, I mean, they work pretty similarly. I would say they work exactly the same. But we were already on remote lock, so I was like, why switch over and pay
Back
$2
switch.
more? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Guest experience.
Touch stay.
Use TouchStay. We
Yep.
use TouchStay and we use Hostfully.
Okay.
That's fine. Put you on the spot here.
Yeah.
AI.
Oh, am I?
You are, of course you are.
I use Bestie AI currently.
Bestie
Guest
AI. Okay.
communications. I'm big on, like I mentioned, I don't think this is maybe off topic a little bit. I don't think AI is replacing humans yet. I know everyone is like freaking out that, it's taking everyone's job. I think there's a way it can replace what humans are doing, but it also is a way that we can train our humans better. I think having humans, especially in the hospitality industry, is very, very important. That's the whole point of hospitality, guest experience. So I actually implement it in both ways on replacing humans, but also improving the humans that I have in the business.
Let's talk about that because that was like my topic of my speech at HostAway. So
Yeah.
like I think that's a really good point. And I want to dig into that. Folks there are great. Really like the guys. I use something different. I use the Hello Host. You and I were debating earlier on the pros and cons of it. So we won't
Little
rehash that. But
friendly debate.
look, the Bestie AI guys, like he lives right across the bridge from me in Greenpoint here and
Really?
here. Yeah, like when I go to get there's this like really good smoothie that I like in Greenpoint. So whenever I drive by there, it's like I know where he lives. Like, oh, okay. Don't be mad I left. Like I
Yeah.
still love you guys. Like, just different strokes, different
Business.
folks.
It's
All right.
business.
It's business. I mean, look, everyone's gonna find the right kind of fit for themselves. What else?
Guest verification.
Pricing.
Oh,
Pricing.
PriceLabs.
Price
PriceLabs.
labs. Us
Yep.
too, price labs, but we have a revenue manager. Do you have a revenue manager?
Yep.
Manager? Okay.
Mhm.
Guest verification. Guest
Yeah.
verification.
TrueV.
TrueV for us as well. I'm running out of time. I'm running out. Do you have one or two more that
I'm trying to think. I use a software called Kendo AI.
what's that?
It's a AI training software where
Okay.
basically you can like role play. I have obviously like customer service people on my team that manage the guests, so we call things like that. And also my cold calling team is constantly on the phone. So I was spending so much time training them myself and it didn't make
Yeah.
sense. So now we use Kendo to
Ooh, you got
train them, to manage them, to track them. It's connected directly to our CRM as well. So it's just constantly in real time updating. And I've seen huge improvements because everyone says they track their team, but when you're really, really busy building something big, those little things tend to slip through the cracks
yeah.
sometimes.
No, that's cool. I never heard of
Yeah.
that. No,
Yeah.
hey, text me that so that I can.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Cool. Okay. What else?
What other than
Yeah,
the
I,
gym?
I want to know. Look, I'm 40. I'm going to turn 46. So you're much closer to the cool stuff. So you tell
I would
me.
say that's probably the coolest one. Obviously, I use a CRM. I use Go High Level. I use
Same.
Discord.
I was a big proponent of Discord for a long time. I was on Discord like my entire team, all my businesses. I moved everything over to Slack, and it's actually and I'm
Better.
and actually paying now too because I have to pay for each seat, so it's actually more expensive, but it's better. Like it really is actually.
I've been contemplating because I'm like, "Ugh, I want everything's already there. It's free. Like, why not just stay?" But
Because like
I know it's
all the integrations aren't there, and as you work with like other organizations, like you can't port into. So it
yeah.
actually, yeah, like
And I have other chats in Slack already, so I'm like, I know I need to switch, but I'm just dreading
I mean, it's
it.
like, yeah, it's a couple $100, but it's worth it. We have just for everything else, we use Loom for all the videos that on my teams that we do training videos. Everything sits there. Although maybe more AI platform would be better. And then we use Phantom AI for all of our calls. So every call that any one of my businesses work on, it all goes through Phantom. So it all records. So it has the
Also, a thing
and
on that too, Kendo is integrated with Fathom, so I have my team
oh
obviously like connect the two, and then I
oh I
get
gotta
to
check that.
review and score all of their
Oh
onboarding
man, okay,
calls.
I gotta do that because
Because it's
I'm missing that layer actually. Go ahead.
like obviously you can train your onboarding team, but then it's like what happens on these calls? Like what is actually happening? What are the objections? What are the bottlenecks? Like where are you kind of falling short? And then it just highlights it. Like it shows you. It's like, hey, this is where they didn't do good. This time, this second, they messed
uh,
up.
I gotta check that out. No, it's cool. Like I've been looking for something like that. What I also like about recording everything is now with like Claude and with
Yeah.
GPT, whatever you want to do, you just hook it up to an MCP, and then actually we'll just grab all that data, and then actually you can actually do stuff with it. So for folks listening out there, it's so dude, there's so much stuff you can do. But for folks out there, like if you're doing any kind of like just if your own business, doing anything, like just record it. Even if you don't know what you're doing, find like fan up, whatever you want to use, whatever platform you want to use, Zoom, just like make sure you record everything that you're doing. Because if you record it, then you're giving the training data for the AI to do like whatever you need to do later on when you figure it out or when you have a business partner or just a product that you can use. Like right now, like Kendo, I didn't know this really existed, but I have all the infrastructure. So if I just plug it in and I can just do all that stuff versus having to like recreate the wheel. So folks, if you're out there listening, that's, I think really, if you want to like get into AI, like this is a really easy first step. Just record everything you're doing and it will help you, accelerate.
And two, like whenever you go to hire people, even if it's just you right now, if you record everything you did before you made your hire, you are going to thank yourself. Like you don't even understand. Like just do it, please,
Yeah,
because
please. Exactly. If there's
and then
one thing
going
from the show,
backwards.
there's one thing you can take away from this show, if you're listening, is like record everything you're doing on some platform. It might be like 20, $30 a month, but it's like it will save you, it will pay dividends down the road versus you burning all your time later on. Let's talk team, right? Like how many VAs are you set up?
So right now I have 9 VAs and they run literally everything. Like when I tell you everything, I don't do anything really inside of the business whatsoever. And again, the tech, the teams, you don't have to go from 0 to 100. You can always like slowly integrate tech, slowly integrate teams. And like, I didn't just start with 9 VAs. Obviously, I've built up to it and I've also moved their roles around. But essentially, we have 24/7 coverage on the clock. So guest
Oh,
communications,
mhm.
which obviously we have AI now, but if something they need to do, they're there. They do all of our cleaning management, so they're the ones managing the cleaners, making sure they're showing up, all that stuff. Restocking, they're doing all of that. Coordinate like literally anything I need. If I'm like, hey, this listing went down, they're the ones relisting it. They're the ones,
Why
tracking.
why would your listing go down, Haley?
That was just an example. I was actually talking to someone whose listing went down, so I think it's top of my mind. Cleaning, tracking as well. I have scorecards, and we use AI to pull all of our reviews and figure out what negative reviews we're getting, what they're for, if they're tied back to a cleaner, how many checks they get per month. And then at that point, it's like, okay, obviously the cleaner is the issue. Now we need to find a new cleaner. We have VAs on resolutions, on claims, reviews, cold calling, management. Like there is someone for everything.
Mhm.
And that's allowed me to buy back my time and focus on the bigger things.
That's an amazing system that you built. For us, similarly, we don't have that many VAs. We have, although my portfolio, we're like 30, we have 37, so
Mhm.
half your size, but we have 5 VAs. I have a manager. We have our maintenance, kind of like someone specialized in maintenance.
Yep.
I've taken a more generalist approach, like because we don't need that specialization because we're not have that many units, but
Yeah.
and we have like 3 generalists. We run 3 people generally Monday to Friday, 9 Eastern to 4 Eastern, and then one person only from 4 to 12, and then 12 to 6 is just AI. For 9 years, I've never had anyone run 12 to 6, or 12 to 9 actually.
Nice.
So that just runs actually 12 to 8. Sorry, one person starts at 8 o'clock now. We have the most junior person start 1 hour early to prep everything before
Right.
the managers come. And then on the weekends, we only have one person for 137 units.
Nice.
One person does 8 to 2, and one person does 2 to 11.
Nice. See,
And
not everyone's team is going to be different depending
yeah,
on your
well,
unit,
yeah,
depending on even like I feel like the market you're in, some are more busy than others depending on the season. Like it's so business owner specific.
yeah. So we were talking before about, or I think he made the comment that it's all similar arbitrage versus when you own. I'll tell you that like I agree with that like 95%.
Mhm.
So there's a part where like it's actually different. It's because, or 2 parts. One is you care a lot more about what happens inside there. A lot more. Arbitrage, all right, like you're renting, as long as it's fine, it's fine. But like someone running your HVAC super hard, like you care way more about it when it's yours. Like the
Because you're the one
landscaping,
that has to pay to
it's
get.
yours. Yeah, it's yours. You can't just file a maintenance claim, right? Like,
Yeah.
or you can't file maintenance request. Like, you got to fix it. So that's definitely one, right? And there's just like things that break around there is like you, it's not management company.
Someone else.
And then the second one is the guest experience. So, for us, we have very basic 2 bedroom apartments in Philadelphia, right? So this is like churn and burn kind of thing. But the stuff that we buy is like nice, like they're like very nicely done. They're 1 million+ properties, and we put a lot of money into it. So the guest avatar is very different.
Yeah.
So then I've had to really retrain the team to be like, when it's arbitrage stuff, it's like, can we get this? And the answer is always no.
Sure.
Versus like, can we get, it's like, absolutely we can do
Yes,
that.
we can.
Like, oh, like there's no saran wrap before, it's like there's a Target across the street, like feel free to go and buy it. Cause it's like, it's just, that's the business model versus
Yeah,
like, oh, cool. Let me like get someone to go and like, or like,
drop it
we
off
will,
or
yeah, we'll
DoorDash it.
drop it off. Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're DoorDash it for you or something, right? If something is, so the touch is way, 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 way higher
Yeah. I
on
do think
arbitrage. So we have to
too
retrain your people. Like I've had to retrain my people a little bit. Like, hey, we can't operate this way
it's
for
different.
stuff that we own. Like we have to really
Dial it down.
dial
Get
down
it in, dial it in.
yeah, well, no, dial down hey, this is just margin, right?
Yeah.
We're focused on like that month margin versus like the equity value of that property, right? Like we want those reviews. Like we're not gonna take down that listing, right? We're gonna that listing has to stay, it has to work. So like we really care about that.
I think too with all these OTAs cracking down and being way more like like way like just so much anti-host. I feel like they hate us. I think I've even had to retrain the team. Like, listen, guys, how we used to do things before, we can't. It's like, oh, you're gonna leave us a 2-star review. Obviously that sucks, but I can probably get it taken down. Whatever. Now it's like, oh my gosh, if you give me a 2-star, a 3-star, it's never coming off. It's never coming off,
It's
and
never coming off.
it's terrible. So I've even had to retrain, like, hey, I'm more stern now. I'm like, this is how we talk to the guests. This is what we do. I'm a little more forgiving with refunds and all
Way
that.
more for yeah,
Like, I'm like treading lightly.
it
And
can't be the sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
it's just different than it was 3 years ago, which is crazy. But
Even like
yeah,
18 months ago. But see,
yeah,
it's kind of funny, it's like you and I, like we've had, I think we talked maybe for like 30 minutes at HostAway. Like, I think we've kind of like crossed paths a few times. If you like been doing this business for a long time, like everyone, you just like, it's the empathy, like, yeah, like I know. Like we all just like, oh yeah, yeah,
like I
yeah.
feel your pain.
I feel yeah, and I similarly I feel your pain. Like
Yeah.
we've all gone through that. And again, I think this is highlights. If you're interested in doing this, right? Like find a community that you have your community, like your takeoff community. It's awesome. Every community is like slightly different people, the different creator. Like just find a vibe that you like vibe with, because that's people are always asking like, well, why STR the best, or why the X creator, which community? I'm like, look, if that person's smart, they've like figured it out. And they have their way, I have my way, but like generally, like they're all going to be pretty effective. It's just more of like who you actually vibe with and you actually listen to. So if you don't think you'll listen to me, like probably not the right fit.
Yeah.
If you don't think, like, who are you going to like actually take the advice from? And
Yep.
that's probably the right person that you like. And then like, you're going to like fit well within the other folks in that community. Like that's where you're going to like do the best.
It
My view.
matters. It matters. I say the same thing. I'm like, if you see someone who's successful, there's no wrong answer. Like if you're learning from someone who's where you're at and they have true success in what they're teaching, there's no specifically success in what they're teaching. I'm gonna highlight that part. There's no wrong answer. Like find who you vibe with, find like you'll know. Like imagine like hanging out with that person. Would you want to hang out with them? Would you want to be around them? Would you want to learn from them? And then just make a decision, honestly. Just pick one that you think you like and figure it out.
No, I agree. It's really helpful. I wish I had more more resourcing in the beginning.
Yeah.
When we started in 2016, there was only like one or two folks on YouTube that were like real.
Yeah.
Sean on Airbnb Automated. He was like the only real guy on there that I would actually be like, oh, okay, it actually makes sense. So a lot of people out there, I was like, well,
He is an OG. I'm
he
like,
is an OG.
no, like,
He's more OG than me.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. How do you look at growth in 2026 now? Like you said, arbitrage is a tool. What's the tool being used for, Haley?
Yeah. I've actually become an angel investor in a software, which is really, really cool. Never thought I would do that. Never thought I'd have the opportunity to do that. I think everyone was forcing like buying a house. Like that's, buy a house, go buy a house. And it's like, yes, obviously I need to buy real estate, but I just didn't feel ready. I didn't feel ready like a year ago. And I know that sounds whatever, but I just didn't. I didn't feel ready. And I took that money, invested in somewhere else. And I think that's the coolest part. It's a tool to do those things that come up and you're like, you know what? I do want to do that. I think it's a great opportunity. So, angel investor in software,
What's
but
the software?
I don't know if I'm allowed to.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay. If you're, I mean,
I
what
don't-
does it do? What does it do? I mean, just like what are the name? Like, just like what's the what problem does it solve?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm allowed to say or not. I
No,
haven't
don't
read the
don't
contract in a while, but
don't worry about it.
we're trying to merge, more face of me. So maybe one day we'll hear about it. But
Okay,
it's it's not in the industry, but it can be tied into the industry. I'll leave you
fair.
with that little nugget.
Okay, all right.
Um, but yeah, in 2026, I just want to keep making more investments. I think I'm at the point where I got that cash flow, and you get that, like, oh my God, I have so much cash flow coming in. And then the next thing is, oh my God, I have so much cash flow coming in. What do I do? And now that's where I'm at. So I would love to obviously purchase something for both tax reasons. And I just think it's the cool next step. Like, I want that generational wealth. So it's a cool funnel to see being built. And yeah, who knows? I mean, if things pop up, I'm in a very blessed position that I'm like, if it's aligned with me, I would love to take any opportunity that aligns.
No, it's great. I like how you're so forward thinking for your age. To be fair, I think at 22, I was definitely not thinking that
I
about
think
angel investing in software.
I've
That's
lived
great.
this life before. I don't know when or where, but I've been here before.
No, it's cool. No, it's really, really cool. I think your mom came with you too, right? To the HostAway conference. Was it your?
No, that was some Airbnb takeoff students actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not my mom, but some
Sorry,
students.
I saw like a. I thought it was maybe your mom. You should buy. I definitely think you should
I
buy
We're
because
gonna be talking.
you already know how to operate it, right? You
Yeah,
got you're in the retraining of the VAs is not a insurmountable task. We have several students that already bought around Florida, which I won't give away their markets because I don't
yeah,
want them to pull more people in. But they're good markets out there that cash flow and not they'll never cash flow as good as an arbitrage unit,
of course.
and it's not designed to, right?
Yeah,
Because you own the property and there's a depreciation part that you don't get with arbitrage, and there's a
yeah,
tax part that you don't get. Um, but yeah, no, it's a great way to real estate's a great way to build wealth, and
yeah.
not just because of like and also just the leverage, right? You're borrowing 80-90% against the property, and you're paying it back with depreciated dollars, right? So I think people kind of forget that it's the embedded leverage that you get with real estate is actually what drives a lot of the returns because you're not putting you buy $1 million house, you're not putting $1 million down, you're putting 100,000 and you're paying the 900 back over 30 years. And like I know you're 22, but like, you know, 30 years ago, like like a sandwich was like $1.50, and like
I
I
can't
can say
even
that
imagine that.
because I can say that. Like I go back home, there's a deli that's still open in my house, and we used to go get sandwiches there when I was like 12, and they were like $1.25 for like a big salami sandwich,
That
buck
is
50.
insane.
And
That's
I
insane.
go there now, and it's $12.99, and it's like it's not the same, it's not as good,
Not the same quality.
not the
No.
same quality,
Yeah, no.
and it's like almost 10x the price, and I was like, it's crazy.
I do think it's also so cool to still be learning. Like, I think that's what we all have in common, like entrepreneurs, that constant, and it could be a blessing and a curse. Sometimes I'm like, stop, just stop it. Like, relax. But also, it's so fun to be a student again, like learning about this next step in my business, whether it's obviously the software I invested in complete. I've never done that before. Like, that has a whole new learning thing. And now, like, learning to buy and like learning everything that goes on behind the scenes. I have no idea about any of that, but it's so fun to like be a student again and like learn. And so I think that's another thing too. If you can keep adopting and keep pivoting and never stop being a learning sponge, like, the world is literally your oyster. Like, just keep learning, honestly. It's so fun too.
No, it's great. That's a great. I think it's a great place to end. Keeping an open mind. And now with AI, you can learn anything.
It's insane. It's
Yeah,
insane.
you can learn anything. Like you can learn and for free, basically, as long as you
Yeah.
have a phone and an internet connection. You don't even need like the fancy version of
Nope.
ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever tool, right? The free version is like almost always good enough to like learn.
Yep.
90% of any topic over an hour. You just keep asking it questions and it's there. So no, like we live in really interesting times, and
Yes.
I'm really glad we're able to do this.
Likewise.
It's so refreshing to, people always talk about like, oh, the next generation, like, they're this, that, and the other. But to meet someone like you that's like has their head on straight and like just like gets it, it's so cool. And like there's some other arbitrage, entrepreneurs that I met along the way, actually very similar, like similar age to you, like in their early 20s, saw something on TikTok or Instagram, or was like, oh, this is cool. Let me just lean in. And then they make more money than like 40, 50-year olds because they were able to, like you said, like keep it, like, have an open mind, have a learning, like bent to like how they want to, and just be open and just being open about new opportunities. I think it's so cool.
I think also too though, like I've learned so much from the older people in the industry. Like I'm both, yeah, I've
Well, I'm
learned,
older. Maybe not older for me, but just older.
yeah, older. So like being open, respecting everyone. Everyone's like, is your age like a negative thing? No, I think it's a superpower. Like I've never left a conversation and someone been like, ugh, like she's 22. If anything, it's like, wow, she's 22. But
Yeah.
the respect is still there. So yeah, just meet people, connect with people, have an open mind, be a learning sponge, and I hope all of you took a little nugget from
I love it.
this. And thanks for having me.
Of course, for folks, where do they, if they want to connect with you and follow you on your Instagram journey, where's the
Yeah,
best way to find you?
all of my socials is the same. It's at Hailie Marie, so HAILIEMAARIE.
Perfect. So, folks, we'll have this on the show notes. So definitely, I follow her. So follow Hailie on Instagram. Some really cool stories. She has a really cool community called Airbnb Takeoff. That's like really interesting and great place to learn. So follow her content. She's super smart. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Likewise.
You'll tell us about the cool AI stuff you're working on, or cool software you're
And
working on.
how you maybe helped me buy my first property. Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? The world, yeah. Let's both keep open minds.
Yeah. Thank
Hailie,
you.
thank you so much.